Robert in the leadoff. You've tried different guys there in recent games. Kind of would Robert stay there? Are you looking at other guys, or kind of what's your thoughts on the leadoff spot?
I'm still figuring it out a little bit. I mean, yeah, we have experimented. I like Wallace leading off. I like his athleticism, speed, power. Could go back that way. I like Robert more in the middle. He's got a little knack for driving in runs. He's just slumped a little bit, obviously. I'm thinking I probably will move him maybe more to the middle of the lineup.
Maybe put Wallace back.
Yeah, possibly there. Yeah.
And then you look, I mean, I know somebody's got to be last in the West. It's such a good division, but I don't, Ole Miss was ranked number one in some preseason polls, and they seem to be struggling, by their standards. Kind of what do you make of the season they're having so far? What do you expect from them?
Yeah, I mean, they've had some injuries that have, like we all have, but I think theirs have hurt them a little bit more. And I mean, you just never know how it's going to go. Kids have good years one year, they have average year the next. A lot of combinations. They played tough schedule. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my thing is I just try to take care of our team, and when we play whoever we play, we go after them. So I don't really know what to say about them.
What do you expect from them?
I expect them to be really good, and I expect it to be a really good series. You can throw the records out, in my opinion. They have good players. They have good arms. They're very offensive. I mean, up and down their lineup's tough. It's just, wins and losses, it can flip. And, I've seen it happen. So I expect it to be a really good series, very competitive.
You mentioned Robert slumping a little bit. You seemed after the Tuesday game, like when he starts hitting, like you sound confident. What are you seeing from him in practice, and what do you think it's going to take to get him to get it going again?
I don't know. I mean, we're working. He's working extremely hard. He's one of the hardest working guys on the team. I mean, if yesterday's workout was any indication of what's going to go on the rest of the season, he swung the bat really well yesterday. I mean, a lot of hard hit balls all over the field, both sides of the plate, not very many fly balls and pop ups. So yeah, hopefully he can take it into the game. I mean, he's just the one we're talking about now. There's other guys that need to step it up, and hopefully they will. We haven't had, really say 5 or 6 guys really have a good weekend the same weekend. It's been a couple here, a couple there, and we've still won a pretty good amount of ball games. So hopefully, our better days are in front of us, and, the sooner the better.
Are you sticking with the same rotation this weekend?
Yeah, we'll go the same rotation.
What are you looking for out of Wiggins, bouncing back from last weekend?
Well, it's kind of been the pattern a little bit with our, with Hagen Smith and Jackson Wiggins. If they didn't have a real good outing one weekend, the next weekend they were pretty good. And I think they would both tell you they didn't have a real good outing last weekend. So hopefully they'll pitch a lot better this weekend and give us a little bit more time to get into the game, figure out what we need to do with our bullpen. So hopefully we'll stick with that Wiggins will have a really good outing for us.
I know you said throw the records out, but Ole Miss is 6-12. They really realistically need to start winning series to kind of get into the tournament. What do you think it's like facing a team that's talented and also has their back against the wall? So you're probably getting their best shot this weekend. Yeah,
you see that a lot, though. We know we're going to get a great effort from them. Again, what we try to do is just focus on what we do well and what we need to do well and play and try to win the first game, go from there. I think everybody in the league gives you a pretty good effort pretty much every weekend. But all the teams, like we said, are so talented. But you catch teams playing good, you catch them playing bad, or they're not playing well. It's a long season. It's a lot of up and down. So the more consistent we can be, the better chance, for us to have a good weekend.
And I wanted to also ask about Jay Sportman. He swung it pretty well in the midweek game. Seems like he's kind of getting the feel for things a little bit. Is there a chance that we maybe see him this weekend, maybe pinch hit, or maybe he gets the start?
Yeah,
here?
You may see him start. He's a guy that, before he got hurt right at the beginning of conference play, it looked like he was going to get in the lineup. I think he had a big game on a Tuesday or Wednesday, a couple double home run, and I think we're pre-gaming, and he got hurt. Somewhere right after that, he's healthy now. I like his approach at the plate, brings a little more sock to the lineup, but someone's got to sit if he gets in there. Our outfielders have done pretty well for the most part. I mean, the averages aren't big time. So sometimes it just comes down to matchup. So, if he's a better matchup than, say, a right-handed hitter, then maybe that's what we do.
About 6 or 7 months ago, you were talking, you thought Evan Taylor was going to have a breakout season, but has he exceeded your expectations for him?
Well, I'd have to say nobody could have projected that he was going to be this good. And I think it's evolved because of he's having success, and now he's got a lot of confidence. And he's a big guy. He wants the ball. He kind of got a rubbery type arm, and he can give you a couple outings on the weekend and probably a third if one of those outings was pretty short. So, I'd say he's exceeded it up to this point, but I don't see what he's doing going away at all unless he's not feeling right. So he's always had good stuff. We've had trouble hitting him, and now he's taking it to the game.
And I mean, you brought him in a lot of leverage situations. There seems to be a lot of confidence that he's going to get you out of those tight spots.
Yeah, I mean, and if it doesn't work out, we feel like we went to the right guy because he's shown us the ability to do that, and he's done it time after time. We don't expect him to be perfect, but he goes in there and competes hard, and he makes the other team earn it for the most part, and that's what we love about it.
Tiger landed on the stopper of the year midseason watch list. Just what have you made of his season, and how impressive has it been since he's a true freshman?
Well, it's been real impressive because he didn't get to pitch a lot in the fall because he had a little bit of an injury. And so the outing that we did see him throw, we're like, wow, that's pretty good stuff. And then, he didn't pitch much after that, had to rest and rehab, and he's done a great job for us, and he brings a lot of confidence to the mound. Obviously, the first time he went out and finished the game, we were like, okay, that was really good. The second time we're thinking, can he do it again? Or was this just one of those great outings? And then we've learned that he is very confident. He wants the ball. He doesn't really care what the situation is. And, it's not like he's a one pitch guy, and it's not a 2-pitch guy. He's really got 3-4 pitches. He's got 2 different breaking balls, change up, and a fastball. Coach has been working a lot with him on his changeup, and it's a good one, but he hasn't thrown it a whole lot. So really what we're telling you, we're probably getting him ready for down the road to be a starter here, because he's got 3 to 4 pitches. He's got some durability. He's a big, strong kid. But right now that's the best role for him on this team. So he's done a great job.
And Dave, Elko, I think Andrew said he had 16 home runs. So I'll go
He
with that.
does.
He's Mr. Stats over there. And I know last year he played with an 8 torn ACL, I think it was, and still was pretty productive. Just what do you think about the season he's having?
He's having a great year. I mean, he's got 16 home runs. He's tearing it up. He's a big, strong guy, man, and he's a great human being, good person. Personally, I'm happy for him. I just hope he doesn't take it out on us. Hope we can get him out some this weekend, and then he finishes the year strong. But, you got to cheer for a guy like that, at least when you're not playing him, because he was a big part of their team last year. I mean, he had a little semi-collision with a first baseman on a midweek game, landed wrong on his knee, and it changed their team for a while. And then when he came back, which we couldn't believe, he came back with a brace, and I was watching the game live when he hit a home run, and he crushed it. He limped around the field. It was pretty impressive. And he hit a few more last year, and then obviously he's a lot healthier this year and bigger and stronger, and decided to come back for another year. I don't know if it's his 5th year or 6th year, but he's probably the leader of that team.
You sound like you know him a little bit on a personal level, or maybe that's just because he's been around so long.
Just
or-
from being around him and hearing people talk about him and reading stories. And, I try to keep up with a lot of the players in the league and, just what they're all about.
And then, obviously, you guys had some frustrations leaving runners on in scoring position. What do you think you have to do to improve your situational hitting? Is it
Yeah.
approach? Is it just you need
A little
some
bit of
breaks, or
everything,
just
everything you're saying, approach, being really conscious of it. The players were in the box. What's their plan with runners and certain on bases, what base, how many outs, situation. Obviously that's what we worked on yesterday, worked on it. We'll work on it again today, but bottom line, go up there and have a good approach, stay through the middle of the field. And, you give yourself a lot better chance to make contact against some of we faced some really good pitching at A&M in that situation. That left-hander they brought in, he got us 2 different times, and he got a little help too that we can't control and I can't comment on, that really put a couple of our hitters in a bind. But, they also got maybe a pitch in that at bat that they fouled off. And when you look back on it, you get one pitch from a good pitcher to hit, you got to hit it. And then after that, he went to work on us a little bit.
You're at the point in the year where you're playing fewer midweek games, you get more practice time. How much do you think that benefits your team?
As far as what now that what?
Getting more practice time and fewer games. Do you
Oh,
feel
from
like
now
there's-
on, you're
Yeah,
saying? Yeah. The two games, midweek games, the 5-game weeks are great as far as just getting some guys out there a lot of times that haven't played much, or pitchers that need to throw. That's really what it's for. We got to get we schedule 56 games because that's the max we can schedule. Scheduling here to Fayetteville in April is really tough unless we want to go on the road. And usually we're in the heat of the conference race and you're trying to rest, but you got to get better and you got to play. So we try to play home games. It's hard to get people to come here. So being able to play the in-state school has been good as far as that goes. Now we're at 1 game a week. And then after that, it's just conference and tournaments. Rest is good this time of year, but you have to stay sharp. I know there's probably pitchers that'll be a little disappointed that, they're not going to have much opportunity here on out. And then, even the position player guys, when you only play 1 game a week, you might give a guy or 2 a day off. You're not going to give a bunch of guys a day off. If you play 2, you can 3 one day, 3 different ones the next day, and guys get some at bats and they're happy. But now you kind of got to play the starters more. But it's a good time of year, just because we kind of know what's in front of us, what we need to do, and we get to rest a little bit and lift and try to stay strong.
And I wanted to ask you about Heston Tole. It seems like his outings have been getting better for you. I think I heard you say maybe a month or so ago he was dealing with some arm soreness. Do you feel like this is a byproduct of his arm feeling more fresh?
We felt like that he's throwing a lot better now. He came in a tough spot the other night and did a nice job, handled it. The batting average against him was up, both from left and right-handed hitters, and for him to go out and have a good outing, that's good. What we know we're going to get from Heston every time out is really good effort and a lot of strikes. And he's a guy you can bring in when maybe we're struggling throwing strikes or bunt situation. He's going to throw a strike. They're going to bunt it. Now, if he can get us another out or 2, we're in good shape. We would like to see him be able to extend a little bit. Obviously, he'll be on the roster this weekend, and if we need him, we'll put him out there.
Has Will McEntire earned himself some more innings maybe on the weekend, or do you like him in that midweek role, or what do you see from him moving forward?
Well, he's on the 27-man roster this week, if that's what you're asking. And, he threw, 85, 90 pitches the other day on a Tuesday, probably be available on Sunday. We do have a midweek game on Tuesday. If we haven't used him or used him very much, probably get a start again. But if we need him this weekend on Sunday to give us some innings, and that's what we feel the best matchup would be, then we'll use him. So, yeah, he's got 4 pitches and he throws them for a strike. Obviously the fastball, and he's got a slower breaking ball. He's got a hard breaking ball. You call it cutter or slider, and then he's got a changeup. So Sometimes you just need an opportunity, and he got it, and he's going to keep getting the ball because he deserves it.
What's it say about him? That, he redshirted last year and didn't pitch for the first half of the season. That whenever he got that opportunity, he made the most of it.
Well, I think that should motivate a player or two that maybe is in the same situation. Last year we had some guys that were throwing the ball really good, and Will wasn't. I think he'd probably tell you that he wasn't at his best. He went out and played summer ball, and he did really well. So we were kind of excited. We're thinking, okay, the kid we saw in COVID year that got cut short is going to help us this year. And then in the fall, it was kind of up and down, and some other guys were throwing a little better, we thought, but his bullpens were good the last few weeks, and Coach and I talked about it. Obviously, I've already talked about this, and we had some guys go out in midweek games that maybe they throw harder, and maybe they got a good secondary pitch, but when you put them out between the white lines, they don't throw enough strikes. And we were finding ourselves behind 3 runs, 4 runs, and fortunately we came back and won, but our starters really didn't give us what we were looking for. And so we said, hey, here you go, Will. And he's, as Coach DeBryan used to always say, take the bull by the horns, and he's done it.
Hey, Dave, I know you obviously know the new coaches at LSU and A&M. I mean, you faced them at other schools, but after the last 2 weeks, you play guys first year at the SEC, and there's a lot of change over the SEC in all the sports. But you and Mike Bianco are kind of the exceptions to the rule, as long as you guys
and Tim Corbin, he's right there too.
Yeah.
So.
And but you're not playing Betty this weekend. So, but what do you think about him? What's y'all's relationship like, and kind of what's it like when you face a guy year after year after year?
Well, Mike's a really good baseball coach, and he's he's former catcher, so he knows pitching. Obviously, he knows how to run a team, and he's had as much success as anybody in this league over the last 22 years. He's actually the dean of the league, a couple years or a year longer than Coach Corbin and I. Always puts a great team on the field. Yeah, I mean, we have a good relationship. It's not like we talk all the time, but in the off season, if there's an issue or we want, I feel fine calling his cell phone, and I think he feels the same way if we're discussing things. It's playing his teams. I mean, you're always going to face some good pitching and some guys that can hit. I mean, it's like, he's got big leaguers scattered all over, and probably a few on his team right now. I mean, it's like playing everybody in this league. They're all talented. There's a lot of expectation down there, and I think he's done a great job handling it.
Hey, well, one thing, follow up on McEntire, obviously the SEC tournament, you like to have a long run there if possible. You might need an extra starter in a regional. Mm-hmm. How important is it that he seems to be coming on here to maybe give you some other options?
Yeah, you got to have a fourth starter somehow, some way, because might need it. If you have to play a bunch of games in any tournament, SEC tournament, you feel like you got a guy, or, we play at Alabama the last weekend. We'll just stay over there. We plan on being in the tournament. And if he didn't pitch that weekend, then maybe you start him game 1 in the tournament. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. Depends on where you're at, what you need to do. But from what we've seen so far, you're getting a guy that throws a lot of strikes. And he's throwing the ball 90 miles an hour, and popped a couple 92s, a couple 89s, but he can mix it up, and he's going to, our fielders like it. They know that he's going to be in the zone. So it's really good to see somebody come on and kind of take that fourth game right now. And hey, he could move up.
I think I told you a few years ago, you guys were moving in on this, but you and Coach Bianco have been in the dugout more often than Skip Burtman and Ron Polk were against each other. That feel a little odd to say.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, just because those two guys are, when you talk about SEC baseball, at least now, those are the guys that you think about, that they were there forever, it seemed like, and maybe help put it on the map, honestly, with really talented teams.
To ask you to, Jama Fowler passed away last week. The contributions that her family made to you, and I wonder on the Fowler Center, it seemed like right after that got built was when your program maybe took another step up. How much did it help you in recruiting players, development, things of that nature?
All of the above, everything you just said. And I've said that before. That facility not only helped us recruit some players that were, very, very good here, still playing, but we became a lot better defensive team. Just the defensive work that we were able to do in the off season. We never missed a beat on the defensive side. You can hit in there. You're right. I feel like that facility helped elevate us just because of what you said, bringing in good players. I can remember bringing, Dominic Fletcher in on his visit, and he was actually going to go to Ole Miss on the same continue on. They were unofficial, and we had that facility, and I don't think we would have got him if we wouldn't have had that facility, because I remember his eyes lit up when we walked in there in 2015 or what, I don't remember what year it was. And then he went over to Ole Miss, and I think we'd recruited him a little bit longer. And I'm not saying he wouldn't have come here, but I really believe that put us over the top, because he could see himself in there all the time working out, getting extra swings in. And it was, but that building and their contribution to get that going and end up being a lot nicer than I ever probably imagined when it started. And we've definitely used that building to build this program. Yeah.
I think in one of the games 2 weeks ago here, y'all had 14 or 15 fly ball outs, and we've talked about how the wind's blowing this year and stuff. Has there been any kind of, I know there's not as much bunting anymore in baseball and so forth, but how do you approach all that now in terms of home runs?
Well,
so
it's, and who knows, and I don't know which game it was, but yeah, it's been everywhere. It's been a really kind of strange weather year with a lot of wind. Usually at night, the wind will die down here, and even the night games, wind continue to blow hard, usually maybe from right to left, across, in, and it's knocked down a bunch of balls that probably would have went out of the park for us. I'd say probably 15 that might have gone out. Some of them were caught, some of them were doubles. And it's been that way on the road a little bit as well, but it's just the way it is. Line drives work every day. Doubles turn into home runs, what we always say. If you hit a lot of doubles, you're going to start hitting home runs when you get a little stronger. But you can't, it is what it is. And I'm thinking probably, we have so much technology now. We know when guys are throwing, high spin rate fastballs and they're strikes, but they're in the upper part of the zone. It's hard to get on top of them. So you're going to hit fly balls. And you hope when you face a guy like that there's no wind, or you can hit a home run or two. So, yeah, it is what it is. You try to make adjustments and communicate with hitters, and, whatever's not going good for you, that's what people are going to notice. That's what people are going to complain about. And we get it, but, our job is to try to make some adjustments. So, and we have.
Yeah, I know there's been a ton of roster turnover since 2019. I guess Connor and Ramage are still here, but Ole Miss, I think I got this right. The Ole Miss was the last SEC team to take a series from you guys here. And of course, you came back and got them in the Super Regional that year later. But just wonder what you think about that. And they seem like they play y'all pretty tough. Historically.
I think when we play each other, you can throw the records out. It just seems that way, that it's going to be a great series. And, we know that. I hadn't even thought about that. When we get rolling in the season, to me, it's all about the next game. And it doesn't matter to me who we play. We just need to scout them and do what we need to do to get ready for them. And we know what Ole Miss is all about. They know what we're all about. You can look at the numbers and figure out if a team runs or bunts or how they play the game, and then you try to manage it. when you're on offense, defense, and but like I said earlier, they have good players, and I don't care what the record is. They're good. I mean, they were number 1 5 weeks ago, 5 or 6. So you don't get that kind of respect from, coaches, poll writers, people that really investigate these things. If you don't have talent, they're good. Okay.